Hey everyone, Ian and Pancho with Summit Bicycles here doing an overview on Sram's Eagle drivetrain kits. How you doing, Pancho?
Good, man. How are you?
Awesome.
That was really weak.
Let's do that again.
Boom.
Okay,
That was
so
still not awesome.
There's a lot going on when it comes to Eagle, and let's go over. So first off, what does Eagle mean?
Eagle just references SRAM's 12-speed group sets.
Got it. Okay, so all of them are 1x12s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're just gonna do mountain stuff today, so everything is a 1x12 group
Got
set.
it. Okay, cool. And there's 4 groups. There's NX, GX, XO1,
And XX1.
XX1, and the newest one is GX, right?
The newest one is the NX.
NX, excuse me.
That's the least expensive one. We can start there.
Sure, yeah. What's the general overview on that group?
Well, NX was the price point entrance for SRAM, and basically it's a $375 group set that lets you have 12 speed without having an XC driver, and that's the kicker. You don't need the super special XC driver on your bike, so if you have a Shimano Freehub body and you want to go 12 speed, SRAM NX is an easy way forward.
Ah, interesting. What's the difference between an XC driver and a non-XC driver?
The XC driver, it's a great question. The XC driver lets you have a 10-tooth small ring, as opposed to when you have the Shimano driver with NX, you'll only go down to an 11-tooth.
Got it. So the gear range on NX is different from GX, XO1,
Correct.
or
It goes
XX1.
from a 50 to 11, as opposed from a 50 to 10.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else to kind of highlight in that group? I know it has an aluminum crank, obviously, right?
Yeah, you have an aluminum crank similar to the GX one, but still just a little bit less of a high-end finish. And then the derailleur quality, this is a GX one here, but on the NX, if you look super close, there's slight differences where you can see they had to cut corners to hit that price point. And it's apparent in playing with the derailleur and in shifting it and in using it. So to be fair, you're getting what you pay for.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to discredit SRAM at all.
No.
I mean, it's amazing that you're getting that technology at that price. It's just, there's going to be downsides to it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to pay, upwards of $2,000 for a group set, and you're going to pay $400 for a group set, you're going to get $400 worth of technology and finishing.
Absolutely. The one thing I noticed, specifically on the rear derailleur that you just pointed out, was there's a lot more play. So fine-tuning that adjustment becomes quite a bit more difficult in terms of how crisp.
It's not going to be perfect all the time, every time. As perfect as you can make, say, like an XX1, like the group set behind us. But it will work, and it does shift through all the gears, and it's a great, like we said earlier, an entry-level price point to Eagle.
Great. All right, let's move on to GX.
Yeah, so GX, I have pretty much a whole group set in front of me here. And as you mentioned before, it's an aluminum crank with the narrow-wide profile on the chainring. This is your 12-speed Eagle derailleur, again going to the 1050. All the cassettes for Eagle are 1050 except for NX, like we said. GX is an all-black cassette, and that's it. It's $545 for the group set.
Yeah, this is one of our most popular selling
We do
ones.
a lot of GX upgrades.
Yeah.
Up until recently, NX wasn't always there, but even still after its release, we're still doing a ton of GX because of the quality that you get with the shifting and the build and the finishing on the product.
Yeah, totally. You mentioned something on the crank or its chainring specifically, narrow wide. What is that?
That just refers to the tooth profile on this chainring. And if you look super close, they alternate height and alternate thickness to keep that chainring, to keep the chain on the chainring when you're going over bumps on your mountain bike.
Oh, interesting. Almost like a chain guide.
Almost like a chain guide, but not without having a chain guide.
Correct.
You can still use a chain guide with this group set if you ride real gnarly stuff and have that issue. But for most people, myself included, I don't run a chain guide on my bike, and it seems to be just fine.
Is that narrow wide technology on all Eagle, or is it?
It's on all Eagles. So if you look at the XO1 chainring and all the other ones, it's there as well, and a bunch of other manufacturers. It's not licensed to SRAM, I believe, solely. Like other people use it as well.
Interesting. All right, so going from GX to XO1, I personally noticed quite a number of differences in performance and just other aspects about the group. And for me, the big one was the carbon crank initially. Do you want to start off there and we'll go into XO1?
Absolutely. I mean, even just picking this up and looking very closely at the chainring, you notice the higher degree of finishing and engineering that went into this. It's not just a stamped piece of steel or a forged piece of steel. Like, it's spent time in a mill, and they engineered it to be as light as possible and as strong as possible. So time and effort spent in developing the group is a lot more substantial, and that is quite obvious in fit and finish and feel and intended use as well. So when you put this on a high-end bike and you want that crisp shift every time, you're going to get that with X01. It's going to be crisp and perfect as long as your derailleur is tuned properly, obviously.
As an OEM group, this is probably the most frequent group we see, right?
Yeah, I'd say we have our hands on X01 mechanical more than any other group that we are going to talk about today.
Yeah, interesting. And then, so staying on the aspect of weight, there's a ton of weight saved in the crank, but also in the cassette. That's where most of the weight savings comes from.
Correct, yeah. So the two parts that save weight in a drivetrain would be the giant hunk of steel, or aluminum or titanium, whatever it is, in the cassette, and then the crankset, which is load bearing, so it has to be a substantial piece of kit.
Yeah. So let's go into the specific performance of the components on X01s, I guess, directly, the rear derailleur.
Yeah, we definitely start there.
Yeah.
So the bearings and the pulley wheels are higher quality. The shifting is higher quality, and that's very apparent how they get that when you're touching and feeling this piece of kit specifically. I mean, everything is tighter tolerance, the finishing is higher end, and when you put on your bike, when you hit that shifter, it's quite apparent how much better the product is compared to a GX or NX derailleur.
Yeah.
I mean, the user experience and the experience overall is just much more premium. So you're getting what you pay for, again, going from something that's around $400, $500 to something that's well over $1,000.
Yeah.
So, again, a much better experience.
Yeah, it's a much more precise feel. It holds a mechanical adjustment longer.
Absolutely, yeah, it requires less adjustments, all that stuff. NX and GX, you're constantly, well, not constantly, you have to go in and fiddle with it a little bit more often than you would an X01 derailleur.
That's great. And then we'll do the final jump from X01 to XX1.
So XX1 really is positioned as being a cross-country race group set, whereas X01 is more of the trail enduro group set. They're priced very close to each other, I think within $100 for a complete group set. The weight of the X01 is going to be slightly more, but they say it's equal in quality, just one is more durable than the other.
Got it, okay. So kind of a right tool, right application.
Absolutely,
Okay.
Yep.
So a couple of these groups come in electronic versions.
Correct.
Let's dive into that.
Yeah, so this derailleur that I picked up earlier actually is an X01 Axis derailleur. So there's a battery that shifts the derailleur when you hit a button. And this is your button that, your shifter basically that sits on the handlebar and jumps through the gears. This one's not on currently, but we have a display in the shop, and it's pretty cool. You can play with the shifter and the derailleur and move it wirelessly. It's real impressive to see.
Yeah, so just to make sure it's clear, this is a wireless electronic system.
Correct, yeah. So they hook up wirelessly. XX1 and X01 are the two variants that have that option, including the dropper post, which you have right next to you.
Yeah, this, which is really cool.
That's probably one of my favorite pieces of the whole group set is having a wireless dropper post, not having to run the cable and not having to bleed it from the cable or from the lever. You just have the bleed port at the bottom now. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best piece of kit in the Axis group, I might say.
Yeah, especially if you happen to have a bike that doesn't have routing for a dropper.
Well, routing sucks anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants to route cables inside the frame. It looks good though.
Yeah.
And it looks even better, as you can see behind us. No cables.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that we need to cover?
Cross compatibility, I think, is real important.
Okay. Yeah. So, what is cross compatibility?
Basically, it lets you pick and choose what parts within Eagle that you want to use together. So you don't have to use all GX or all XX1, or you can use a mix of whatever you want. So you can have, a GX crank with an X01 derailleur and shifter, or vice versa. If you just want to upgrade piecemeal from a GX to an XX1 group set, you can do it in pieces. You can do cassette, you can do shifter. Anything works with anything.
Got it.
Even Axis.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So you can do like some road shifters with a mountain group set to have a really awesome gravel bike set.
Is that why there's a cross
Yeah, that's
bike?
why there's stigmata hiding.
Is that Eagle?
Yes, no,
it is.
It's not a road group.
Got
it is an Eagle group
very
with,
cool.
with Force Axis shifters.
That's awesome.
Pretty awesome, yeah.
All right, and then so with the compatibility aspect, you could, like, if you have a Shimano free hub body and you're not able to get an XD driver on there, you could do an NX cassette with an X01 group.
Absolutely, because
right?
it's all 12-speed, because it's all Eagle, it all works together.
Very cool.
So if there's issues or you guys have questions, let us know. We're happy to help you figure out what works on your bike and your setup for your budget.
Okay, very good. That does it in terms of the specifics of the lineup of each hierarchy of Eagle. Let's get into the nit and gritty of weights and prices.
Yeah, let's do it.
What do we got there?
So NX is roughly 2,000 grams for the whole group set. GX is 1,800 grams. XO1 is 1,550 grams. And then XX1 is just 10 grams lighter at 1,540 grams.
Oh, wow.
So not a lot. Yeah, it's a small weight difference, but again, right tool for the right job.
Let's cover the prices of just the mechanical groups.
Absolutely. So NX is $345, GX is going to be $545, XO1 is $1,275, and XX1 is $1,500.
And then the prices for XO1 Axis is
$1,900.
and then XX1 Axis
is only $2,000, so $100 more.
Is okay, very good. And does that include the dropper?
Does not include the dropper. That's the kicker.
How much is the dropper?
$800.
It's worth it.
Worth every penny.
Okay, that's going to conclude it for the Eagle lineup overview. If you have any questions, shoot us an email, give us a call, come by the store, and we'll get you set up. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.